Hello, and welcome to the Sayincast, airing every Thursday at 11 a.m. India Standard Time, available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Scott Warren, and oh boy, do we have a show for you. Now, first and foremost, I think the thing we all have on our minds is this recent coronavirus outbreak that's been stirring up in the media. And frankly, I still don't know what the heck is going on. I mean, it is spreading so rapidly. I heard that by the end of the month, they have predicted at least 1 billion people will be infected in Canada alone. And that's just insane because I'm pretty sure that's around double our population at the least. And what baffles me the most is that the WHO can make all these predictions, but won't even tell us why they named this disease after a beer. I guess since young people are mostly immune to this disease, it truly will be a teenage wasteland out there. The point is, there's a serious context collapse happening right now, and it is growing with how new media allows for both information and disinformation to be spread and accessed out there on the air and on the ground. It's becoming increasingly easier to find stories about the outbreak because everyone and their dog can write an article these days. But it's becoming harder and harder to tell what's true or not. Hell, I don't even read the articles anymore. I just read the clickbait titles and go from there. Thankfully, to help shed light on this topic, we actually have a self-proclaimed expert on fake news on the line with us. Don't we, Gene? Thank you for joining us today, at Real Donald Trump from Twitter. Hello?
It's a huge pleasure to be here, Scott. Just huge. Thanks for having me.
So, thanks for coming on the show today. So I gotta ask you, with all that's happening with the coronavirus on social media today, I'm sure our viewer at home may have found your recent comments on the coronavirus epidemic in poor taste. So, can you tell us why you said the number of cases in the US would go down? The country seems to be getting hundreds of new cases these days.
The numbers are great, just great. They've never been better.
So when you spoke earlier, that wasn't for political gain? That wasn't to earn votes?
That's correct. I'm not a political guy, Scott. I'm not a political guy. I'm just trying to tell Americans the truth.
And how's that going for you? So who do you trust for your news, Mr. Trump? Do you have any in particular you would like to recommend to us?
Hold on. Okay, here's one. Fox News. They're just absolutely amazing. I watch them every day, and I have them always on in my room. Just incredible.
And you had to look that up? I'm going to take this moment to shout out to our one viewer in Arthur, Ontario, who actually won last week's sweepstakes to be a guest on the show. And with that being said, I'd like to welcome Zain.
No, you cannot joke about that. Fox is a terrible news source.
Yeah, we're more of a CBC1 kind of show. Now I'd like to change the topic a little bit. Keeping context in mind, is taking a joke with stereotypes as an offense a form of context collapse? And should we back away from potentially offensive jokes in the media from now on?
Comedy is subjective, Scott. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much. You decide what's right or wrong, what's real or what's made up. The same way you decide what's funny or not. Just incredible.
You know what? I agree with Real Donald Trump from Twitter. Humor should allow the occasional joke against a specific group of people. If you want to make a joke against K-pop, you should be able to joke about that.
I'm actually getting told by my producer that there is not enough representation in this discussion. So please welcome to the podcast an actual female, Sarah Tutt.
Thank you for having me.
Based on our current discussion, Sarah, do you believe that women are misrepresented in the media? And do you personally feel discriminated against when there is gender-based jokes against women online?
I haven't been listening.
You're awful, Scott. Giving her the spotlight when I've barely had any talk time.
Excuse me? You just interrupted me, you oaf.
Oh yeah? Well, what if I told her that I think jokes against women are epic?
I'd say that makes you an even bigger oaf.
Have you seen what it's like out there, Scott? Do you ever actually leave this podcast?
No.
Racialization and jokes of gender in media, although negative in many contexts, are important to be implemented in satire.
But in many cases, people aren't able to draw the line between satire and reality. And when it is men who control the media and create the jokes, it takes away from our ability to enjoy and relate to them. I hear men saying women aren't funny to me all the time.
Everybody just yells and screams at each other. Nobody's civil anymore.
Guys, I think we have gotten a tad bit off topic.
The notion that women aren't funny is a satire in of itself. Of course women can be funny. There are plenty of funny women out there. What kind of society would we live in if we couldn't laugh at ourselves?
You are nitpicking and biased. I win, bye-bye.
Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be a guy like me?
I guess the lesson we can take away from this is media in the 21st century is complicated. No longer is it about simply encoding and decoding a message given by one voice, but it is now a battle royale of clashing opinions and personalities. In this network society, will we ever learn how to solve our issues of context collapse? Will comedy ever be funny again? Will we ever find out why it's called coronavirus? Time will tell. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Tune in next week to learn how we can save you up to 25% on NordVPN. Good night, folks.
Actually, I think I agree with Zen.